I have spent the last couple of days, kind of trying to gear up for the season by having some Tua conversations, just trying to
Oh,
get myself in game shape for the season. And one of the conversations we were having here this week that I wanted to ask you about is how many quarterbacks are you sure about? A number. You put them in any offense, they're going to be great and put up the same numbers. It's not going to be offense dependent. You're going to get the confidence of, I have blank number of quarterbacks that I simply know that my measurement of them is they are valuable and good, the most valuable and the best.
how many what you're asking is, sorry, I was so derailed because for some reason I thought when you were saying you were gearing up in Tua, you were going to finish that with talking about his brain. And then when you pivoted to actually just talking about football, it kind of threw me. So, uh, how many quarterbacks, you're asking, do I feel confident in? Like their ability to elevate? What are we talking about here?
What I guess, forgive me for the way that I introduced that, but I'm laughing at, bemused, and marveling at our inability to accurately measure the value of the best quarterbacks, separating them from their wide receivers, their offensive lines, their systems, and everything.
Yeah.
Just asking, who's great? Who do you pay? No questions asked.
The problem with that question, and looking at it through the lens of who you pay, is you can't take any of these quarterbacks out of context when you're making a decision about paying them. Tua being a perfect example, a quarterback who I think is incredibly valuable in the context of his offense, and that matters when you're deciding whether to pay him. Like I swear to God, I'm not being political when I say the Dolphins should pay Tua, but if he was on another team, I don't think that team should. And that gets tricky, Dan, because you can hear that and you say, well, how do you know the context around Tua is going to, this context in which he is so good? It's an offense, the scheme, the speed of the skill players, the play calling. How do you know that's going to stay the same if you give him $50 million a year? You don't know. However, you can operate from the assumption that at least the head coach is going to be in play and that you have a wide receiver in Jalen Waddle who's very, very young and very, very fast, and a front office who has been pretty damn good at identifying skill players who work in the context of that offense. So if all of those things are in place, I feel better about paying him because I feel like I have a pretty clear vision of what this offense with him is going to look like for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Even if you took him out of that context, I don't think he would be as valuable. Does that make sense?
It does, but why haven't they paid him? Because the reason that we started the conversation is me saying I don't blame the Dolphins for thinking that if he went to another offense, any other offense, maybe San Francisco, Mina, but any other offense outside of San Francisco, that he wouldn't be statistically the player that he's been.
And I think that would be fair, but the thing is, you're not paying these quarterbacks based on who they are in a vacuum. I think Tua is not as good as, your Josh Allens, your Joe Burrows, your Lamar Jacksons, whatever. He is not in that tier. I look at those quarterbacks and I think, okay, you could put them in any offense in the league and they are elevators of talent and they are uniquely able of creating offense on their own in a way that I don't feel about Tua. However, the decision to pay him is not putting together a team from scratch, or it's not like, building a Madden dynasty or whatever. You are paying him based on the quarterback you want him to be in this offense, the quarterback he has been. Where I would get a little bit hesitant is, okay, I've been saying he's so great in this offense. His offense is a buzzsaw. But of course, we have seen this offense run into some grit against difficult defenses, obviously in cold weather. And the question I think the front office has to ask is, are the struggles of this football team, this offense in those situations, something that can be pinned on the quarterback? And are there ways in which the quarterback can continue to get better that perhaps might enable them to get over the hump? He's lost some weight. Does that mean he might be more mobile and able to create on his own, which he hasn't been very good at? Is he going to be better under pressure? I think the offensive line and the front office have done him no favors there. But the thing about Tua, you also have to remember, is he's still a young quarterback. He could get better at those things. And that, to me, is the decision that the front office has to make.
Mina, stay right there, okay? Because Greg Cody was riveted by your every word. I've never seen him. What happened?
No, I'm nodding in agreement with almost everything Mina said. I am a pro Tua guy. I've written like 3 columns, which is probably too many, that they should pay him. And I think they're nickel and diming him. He's, no matter where Tua goes, he's going to bring his accuracy with him.